What's going on, my fellow residents? It's me, TheFrozenCavern, and today I have another discussion video. And today we're going to be talking about the possibility of Rivals of Aether on the Nintendo Switch. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am a Rivals of Aether's fan, and I do have the game on PC. But for those of you who don't know what Rivals of Aether is, it's basically a kind of mock-up, and I'm using that term very vaguely, of Smash Brothers, and it takes a lot more to the melee side of things, but it does have its own differences to make it very unique, and it's very fun to play. So just look up some videos on it, try it for yourself if you want to, and see what you think of the game in general if you don't already know what the game is. And by the way, I'll have a link for everything I'm using for this in the description below. So a few days ago, there was a Twitter poll by one of the developers, Dan Fornitz, and he was asking, would you purchase/repurchase Rivals of Aether for the Nintendo Switch if we could bring it to the platform? And over 50% of the people said yes and that they have a Switch, and then 26% of the people said yes and buy a Switch, meaning that they didn't already have one, but they would buy it just for Rivals of Aether. That, or they would also buy Rivals of Aether in addition to other games. And obviously, this shows that this has some huge reception, is that a lot of people want Rivals of Aether on the Nintendo Switch. But one thing that can be brought up is that Rivals of Aether also does have DLC, which you would have to get separately, obviously. But thankfully, someone commented and asked if all the DLC would be on the game. And the developer did clear that up, that it would be a definitive edition. Now, since the game costs $15 by default, I want to imagine that a definitive edition might cost maybe $20, $30, solely because of all the DLC that is added onto it, which is really just characters. However, one thing that I want to bring up is that one of the DLC characters is Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest, which is an Xbox property. So it makes me wonder if there will be a Nintendo character to take that person's place. I could probably imagine that Fox would be the one to take the place because it makes a lot of sense. He is already in the Smash Brothers series, so making a moveset for him isn't exactly very difficult, so I can see it happening. Now, this would be very profitable for Rivals of Aether because for most indie games, when they're bought on the Nintendo Switch, they have more sales than the PlayStation or Xbox One version, and sometimes they have more sales than both of those combined. Something that also helps out with this is that the pixel art style that Rivals of Aether has would allow the game to run very, very well on the Nintendo Switch, because pixel art, to my knowledge, doesn't take very much to run. A good example of this being Undertale. Now, will I be getting the Nintendo Switch version? Yes, I would, but mainly to try and get away from trying to purchase the DLC, which is kind of scummy of me. But again, like I said before, they might increase the price from $15 to maybe $30 because of the DLC characters. And an issue is, I don't know how long it would take because there are some new characters that they are planning on adding in the future. Don't know when they're adding them exactly, but they have to add that for the PC version and Xbox One version because it's on those two, and then they have to end up making the Switch version at some point. So I would expect Rivals of Aether to be on the Nintendo Switch maybe summer next year at best. And then not only that, but it would also be a good substitute for Smash Brothers until a Smash Brothers game comes out on the Nintendo Switch at some point. If another one ever does come out, that is. And I made a whole video on that. I might link it at the end of this video, but I'm hyped for a Nintendo Switch version of Rivals of Aether. So let me know in the comments below if you guys are hyped at all for a Nintendo Switch version of Rivals of Aether, and let me know about any possibilities that you might think happen. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe for more video game content, but until next video, take care.